our core, we love, you know, the guy in the romance novel, the strong guy, the knight on a horse who can sweep us off our feet. We love those qualities in a man, and that's why women will even go after like con artists and prisoners and dark triad guys, because these are unhealed women. Okay, they don't, they're unhealed, but all of us, even us healed women, we want a man who has courage, who's got some strength, who's a risk taker, who's an adventurer, who's an entrepreneur. And we want someone, if we're healthy, we want someone who's also benevolent and a leader. We just crave that. Okay, the same way that you crave a woman who's submissive, the same way that a guy doesn't want a woman who's like super dominant and controlling and telling him what to do. Deep at your core as a man, you want a woman who is, you know, I read the comments too. You want to go to Asia to find a woman because you want someone who's sweet and kind and submissive and nurturing and cooperative and feminine and beautiful, and who keeps a home and who likes to cook for you and who likes to spoil you and who likes to submit to you, right? And we women like a man who's strong and courageous. So this is just part of the attraction thing, because when it comes to attraction, it's not the same thing as a family member or a friend or a mother and child. Like when I'm in mom mode, when I'm with my grandkids or I was a mom, you know, I'm in a different mode. I'm in charge. I have to set the tone. I'm responsible for my kids, and I'm, you know, making sure what they eat and how they're raised and how are things going at school, and I got to drive you here, and now we need to do this, and yesterday you told me about this friend, now what's going on with that. Like there's a lot of that kind of stuff where I'm in charge. In my work, I'm in charge. You know, when I'm running, I'm in charge. But when it comes to male-female relationships, being in charge doesn't turn me on. And that's what is, you guys have to understand. When the woman is in charge, she can't get turned on. Now, some women might get turned on being in charge. I don't really know. I don't have any experience with that. Maybe they get turned on mentally because they can subdue you or whatever. I don't know if they get really aroused. My conversations with women around sexuality has always been that they want to be submissive to the guy. Okay? So there's something, and I want to explain to you why it's more arousing to us when you're taking charge, and some ways that you inadvertently drop the ball and make us take charge. Okay? So, first of all, men and women are different. I know we're not supposed to say that. We are very different. In some ways, we're alike, right? We have bodies, we have feelings. You know, we like to eat, we like to work out, we like to sleep. We're people. We have this in common, that we're people. But you guys are different than we are genetically and sexually. Even your lungs are bigger. Your muscles are different. Your brains are different. Your brains are actually different. Every DNA is different. Every cell in your body is different. Because you have an X and Y chromosome and we have two X's. So we're different. Our arousal cycle is different. What turns us on is different. How we behave sexually is different. And so these differences is what are required for sexual attraction. So we're speaking of sexual attraction. And love does not create attraction or desire. Pleasing someone doesn't create attraction or desire. Attraction and desire are created by some very mysterious things like pheromones and other magical elements that you do not need when you're making a friendship, when you're hiring an employee, or you're dealing with your child or grandchild or your parents or your friends or your neighbors or your colleagues. Pheromones don't come into play. How someone looks doesn't come into play. But when it comes to our romantic relationships and our mating behavior, how deep down we're polygynous, how what we want sexually and desire in relationships, we are bringing in different things that come into play. Do I like looking at you? Do I like your voice? And the pheromones and other things we're not even aware of. Did you know they found Chris Williamson is having a podcast come out with Louise Perry on Monday, which I'm very eager to watch. And one of the clips he released on Friday, December 1st, 2023, was talking about, he said in one study, women were walking behind like a panel, so men could only see their silhouette, and they were asked to rate the attractiveness of the women. And the women that were ovulating were rated as more attractive. So the men could pick out, just from the way a woman walked, if she was ovulating. And also, I think there was a t-shirt test on the women. I don't recall, but there was a t-shirt test on men. They gave women t-shirts of men to smell. They didn't see the men. They just got to smell the t-shirts that these men had worn for like 2 or 3 days in a row. And the women preferred the scent of these t-shirts that were correlated to the men that had, I don't know if it was more testosterone or more attractive facial features. And these are all things we're taking in about people that we're not even consciously aware of. All right, so men also love competing, whereas women tend to love cooperating. Okay, this makes sense from our biological standpoint of reproduction. Women like to nurture, and men love that we are nurturing. That's what you guys love about us, that we're nurturing. When women are not nurturing, you guys are really turned off. You like us to be nurturing. And women tend to gather in nurturing type of groups, like book clubs is mostly women, meeting for coffee, running a daycare center, all those things. And men love to compete. They love going to the gym or competing. Not that women don't like to compete, but that's more of a masculine energy. And men love to compete against each other. Like, come on, you can lift more weights. What's that? You know, they egg each other on like that, and they build each other up to that kind of jarring competition. And they thrive on it. They love to go out and play basketball and like get the ball from each other. Whereas a woman is more likely to be like, well, I'm not going to take the ball. I don't want to take the ball from you. That's your ball. So we have to really understand our differences. And the more that we can be aligned with what is more our true nature, the more we're going to be attracted to someone who's in their true nature. And I am very in touch with my feminine energy and my masculine energy because we have both. But I'm a strong woman. I need a man who's stronger than me, and these men are hard to find because they're all tiptoeing around trying to become feminized to please the woman, and it's a lot of bullshit. I've been single for almost 11 years now because I have not found a man that can intrigue me enough and dominate me, and it's very easy to dominate me. It doesn't take very much at all. So, but the guy has to be competent. Another thing I want to say is that people generally date in their socioeconomic circles, that and women generally want a man who's equally or more educated. I definitely want a man who's more educated than I am, equally or more educated, you know, someone I can look up to. Now, why is that? Because you're trying to turn me on. I'm not going to get turned on otherwise. Women are emotional beings. Even my one son, when he was only 20, told me, yes, you have to build emotional tension with a woman. You absolutely do. You cannot be boring, and you cannot be seeking her approval. There's no emotional tension when you're asking her to be in like caretaking mode of you. And women, we like to be in our feelings. So for example, if say somebody wants to come over for dinner, or say a gentleman wants to come over for dinner and bring me some wine, I don't want him to say, what kind of wine do you like? What can I bring? Because now you're making me think. I'm not in my feelings. For me to think, now I got to work. I got to organize. I got to plan. And now it's not fun. I would rather you say, what kind of wine do you like? Oh, well, I like a red wine. I like a Pinot Noir. Because now you're speaking into my feelings. What kind of wine do you like? Well, I'll tell you, and then you pick it out. Take a chance. Take a chance on me not liking it. That's your courage. That's you planning. That's you organizing. Because I can plan and organize, but then why do I need you? If you're asking me, where do you want to go to dinner? Now I got to plan. I got to organize. So you're offering me nothing. You're just work. Because I can do that on my own. Why do I need you? But if you say, what kind of food do you like? And I say seafood, and you go, I got a great place. It's here. We can do 6 or 7. What do you generally like to eat, earlier or later? And I can say, I like to eat earlier. Okay, let's do it 6 o'clock. I'll make a reservation. I'll see you there. That's perfect. So I don't know if men realize that, because when you keep asking me to make a decision, now you work and you're not adding to my life. And don't say that makes me selfish, because everybody wants someone who adds to their life. The same guys are like, you women are so damn complicated. You want me to add to your life? Well, yeah, you want me because I add to your life. You want a woman to add to your life because you want to have sex or you want her to do something. Like, if someone makes our life worse, why would we want them in it? And I don't think that men realize when they're people pleasing, they're making the life worse. Unless it's a controlling woman who gets a kick out of abusing men. Now, when there's a guy who's a people pleaser, then I'm in charge. He's put me automatically in the leadership position because he's trying to please me. See, me as the woman, I want to be in the people pleaser position, more or less. I want to submit to you. But when you're making me when you're the people pleaser, then you're trying to submit to me and you're putting me in the masculine role and where I can't feel turned on at all. And I don't feel safe. I don't feel protected. And you're showing me you have zero courage. A people pleaser has zero courage because he's so afraid of saying the wrong thing. He's so afraid of being himself that he just wants to be so cautious not to upset me and make sure he does everything that I want. And how can I look up to men with no courage? Remember, we said women want a man who has courage, who takes risks, who is an adventurer, who's a leader. That's why women will write to con artists in prison, but they're not writing to the guys who are in the mental ward, in the mental institution. Okay, because those guys are weak. They don't have any power. They don't have any courage. They haven't shown any courage. What other examples can I think of? Like I wouldn't want a guy who's a stay-at-home dad because he doesn't have any courage. He's just like safely at home in a nurturing mode. That's not hot. I want a courageous man. Okay? So when you're a people pleaser, I have to think. One of the worst things you can say to me, like if I go for a haircut or go to the dentist, they'll go, how was your weekend? And I hate that question. I always tell people, I don't like that question because now I have to think. Now I have to check out of our conversation. I got to think back to the weekend. What did I do? Because for me, every day is a weekend because I'm very in the moment. I tell people a much better question to ask me is, how are you feeling right now? Or how are you feeling right now is a much better question to ask me because I can tell you how I'm feeling right now. But if I have to think back to the weekend, now you're just put me in my head. And I don't want to be in my head because I'm having an interaction with you and I'm glad to see you. And you're taking me out of the moment and making me think. The same way that I used to do with guys when I was an escort. And we were just going along. We're very embodied. And I start a conversation about something they like. Or I'm trying to explain something. Do you know what happens to a guy's heart on? It goes, zoop. Because I've taken the guy out of his embodied present moment. And if you want to turn on a woman, you've got to get her embodied. You've got to get her in the present moment. You've got to get her in her feelings. Of course, you're not going to do that the whole time you're in a relationship. But you got to have those elements there. Because sure, I also like to have a discussion and have a conversation, but when I'm having a discussion or conversation, I'm thinking, I'm not turned on. And neither is the guy, because his erection goes zoop. So when you're a people pleaser, it's like me talking to you while you're having sex and asking you what you like to cook for dinner. Next time you're having sex with someone or you're masturbating, imagine someone coming in and going, no, not that. Imagine you're with a woman and you're really having a good time with her. And then your phone rings and your boss calls and asks you, how's that project going? Or the woman stops and goes, so what would you like for dinner? What did you say again? Or what was your idea about that kitchen remodel? Your erection's going to go down. And that's what you have to realize with women, that, you've got to have some emotional content that makes us want you. And making us plan things, making us think about things, telling us what you have to do to please us is the opposite of that. And I am not even sure I'm explaining it well, but I'm trying to explain it. So if you're a people pleaser, you will not get a woman like me to ever want you, ever. You're going to get a woman who's bossy, controlling, or a woman who grows increasingly resentful. This is what I crave. I crave like a strong man, and his height is not important. A strong man, physically strong, emotionally, mentally strong, innerly calm, who's a benevolent leader, who's not easily rattled, and who can handle me, who has courage and takes risks, and who can dominate me in the bedroom and out of the bedroom very easily. And I'm going to give you some examples of what happens. Like, I want a guy to just be like, take me. Because when a guy leads and I don't have to think, I become a different person. That's the same way as guys are during sex. I've seen guys during sex and after sex. Before sex, if guys are really turned on, they're like, oh, so gearing, or some are more relaxed. But after they come, they're very relaxed. And also when they're with the woman, when they lose sense of space and time, and they're very in the moment, they're very enjoying my touch, and they're just like moaning or whatever, and they're very in the moment, you've got to bring that feeling to a woman, okay? Because men also experience that, that sense of awe and that sense of wonder, and that what you can give to a woman when you take charge. It's like, okay, like I go through my life, like I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And then a guy can come along, and it doesn't even have to be a romantic thing. It can be my friend's husband. It could be one of my sons. It could be a neighbor. They do something where they take leadership, and my whole body just relaxes instantly. And a people pleaser will never bring that out. For example, there was a while ago, I was out with my friend and her husband, and I were going to meet for dinner. And she and I had been going to dinner for a while before she married him. And it's always a big thing between me and my girlfriends. I'm like, okay, here are 3 places I like. I have to go on the computer, and I have to look up a bunch of places that I like, that she might like. Like, it's a lot of work. And it's not a fun thing, but I'll do it. And then she's like, okay, I like this place too, but I don't like that place. It's too expensive, and I don't like this kind of food. And so we have to find all the stuff. And then we have to agree on a time, and then we go. But this particular time, her husband said to her, well, ask your friend Sharzad what kind of food she likes. At her, and I said, I like seafood. She said, okay, I'll put him on the phone. So I said, I like seafood. And, you know, I live in this area of town that's kind of far from you guys. And he goes, it's really not that far. I said, oh, okay. And he goes, I know a great place right by you where we can go. And he mentioned the place. I'm like, oh, yeah, I've been there. It's a great place. My friend and I both like to eat early. So he's like, oh, let me check. Oh, they have a reservation at this time or this time. Which do you prefer? So he asked me that question. I told him it was done. And I loved how he handled it. I'm like, you married a great guy. You have married a great guy. I love how he just took charge of that. It was not a big thing. I didn't have to make any decisions. He just handled it. Then when we got there, these are some good examples. He did a couple great things. Now, he's not my type. I wasn't attracted to him. But I love how he took a leadership position. She found a good guy there. He also, when it was getting later on, we were still talking, and I noticed that the whole restaurant had cleared out, and we were the only ones left. And I said, I think we should go. Because I'm used to saying that with people, and the guys I'm with, they'll usually be like, oh, okay, and we'll go. But this gentleman said, it's only 8:34, we've got time. And I instantly relaxed, like, oh, okay. I let him take charge. I'm not responsible for getting us out of here. Let him do it. And it was great. But a people pleaser would have gone. The people pleaser guy would have been like, okay, we should go. And that is, again, you're putting me in charge. I'm never going to be turned on. But when he said yes, I didn't feel attracted to him, but my whole body relaxed. And that's what you want. You want the woman's body to relax. For us to get... See, for a woman to get turned on, a precondition is we have to feel safe and trusting. We have to feel relaxed. Guys will want sex because they're tense. To them, sex is a way to relieve stress. But we have to be relaxed to even want it. And everything that you do that makes me feel relaxed is only going to be in your favor. Relax as in, you got this. I'm going to give you another example. I was at a dinner with a gentleman a couple years ago. It was a guy I met on a dating app. And we were at a restaurant and we were seated outside. And we were seated next to some people who were talking very loud, which is fine. They were having a good time, but it was too loud. I could barely hear him. I said, I can barely hear you. I think we should move. And he goes, yeah, I think we should. So I was looking around outside to see if there was another table. I didn't really see any tables. When the waitress came over, I expected him to ask that we should move our table. But he didn't. I had to do it. And I'm fine doing it. You know, I'm not like a wallflower. So I said, I had to ask if we could move. And there was no other table, so we had to stay, which was fine. But he didn't ask. That's the point. That's the point. I had to take charge. Okay, I'm giving you little examples, and if you don't realize the power of these things, if he would have called the waitress over, we'd like to move to a quieter spot. That would have, I never had a second date with that guy. Okay, and it wasn't just that, there were some other things too, but that was definitely a mood killer for me. I will not date a guy that needs me to take charge with the freaking waitress at the restaurant. You know, I didn't ask him to swim in a shark-infested ocean for me. So, the point is, you gotta get comfortable with taking charge. You gotta get comfortable with being you, and you gotta be comfortable with pissing off the woman. That's why I love guys with beards. I love the hairiness. I don't like it when they shave off their pubic hair. I don't like that. I don't want to shame anyone. I know some of you guys like that, so then you should do that if that's important to you and that's who you are. And like I'm just a guy who loves to shave his hair. I love having no hair. That's just me. Now, I personally love a guy that's hairy. I love chest hair. I love pubic hair, trimmed properly. If I didn't want any hair, I'd be with a woman. I like all the masculine things. So that's just me. what I really want to what I really want to get across in this video more than anything is that when I'm around a man like that I'm describing, and it doesn't have to be my man, it could be men I'm watching on a YouTube video, it could be a friend's husband, it could be just another man somewhere out and about, not anyone I'm attracted to, not anyone that I want to date, but that kind of leadership energy, it changes me. It makes me feel calmed. It makes me feel grounded. It makes me feel settled. Grounded is the best way to explain it. And that is the most precious gift a guy can give me, is to make me feel grounded. And grounded is good, because your masculine energy makes us feel grounded. See, all these women that are going around, they're really aggressive and hostile, and who needs a man? They just need to be fucked really well. They just need a man to be like, just chill. You're taking this too far. Just stop talking for a minute. Just give her a big hug, or just fuck her really well. You know, these women are ungrounded. Okay, now I know how to ground myself. I'm grounded, but when this masculine energy comes along, it's just a power, you guys. You men have a power that is intoxicating. And you guys think, oh, why would a woman be attracted to a man? We're just like these hairy, awesome creatures. Yes, we love it. We love that, okay? You're not supposed to be beauty objects. You're supposed to be objects of strength and leadership and adventure and groundedness. And believe me, I do find that very beautiful. As to me, I mean, I've decided I'm never gonna get the kind of guy that I really find attractive, that I want to be dominated by, you know, or that I would let him fuck me for free. I will never get that kind of guy. But I can, just thinking about guys like that makes me feel very grounded and at peace, and I like that. I just wanted to share that with you, because I don't think that men hear often enough what qualities women love in you and how valuable you are. And I think a lot of men think that in order to get a woman, you have to do whatever she wants. And that's going to be a huge turnoff, actually, to, you know, because we all have to have boundaries. I'm not a fan of Jordan Peterson. I think he's very dogmatic and rigid and cold. But a lot of men love him. Men love him. I do not know why. Jordan Peterson is not my type. I'll tell you why. He's rigid. He's cold. He's such a lecturer. He's so self-important. And he yaps, saying nothing at all, in my opinion. Like this thing, which maybe people will find this relatable, but it popped up on my YouTube shorts. I think it was in a talk with Louise Perry, and he said the most attractive thing about a woman is a woman who can say no, who has standards, who can say no. I find that a very odd thing to say. That's the most attractive thing about a woman. I'm paraphrasing here. If you heard it, please correct me in the comments. It was something about that she's not easy, that she has standards, that she has boundaries. Now, I think that's a very attractive quality in a man. I think that's an attractive quality in every person. But the point was that I think it's an attractive quality, and a people pleaser doesn't have it, and a man who's told to be like a woman doesn't have it. And we need to remind men that we love your boundaries, your sense of self, that you're like, oh, you want me to do the dishes? Well, I don't do dishes. I'll change the oil in your car, but I don't do dishes. Sometimes you just got to set your foot down. If you don't want to do dishes, you're like, I don't do dishes. Another thing, my ex-husband was very good at stuff like that. It made me really respect him. He'd be like, I don't go shopping. I don't like shopping. Why are you shopping with your wife? Come on. What guy likes shopping? You're just a people pleaser. She might like you the same way she likes her sister, her best friend. She's not going to fuck you. And if maybe you're okay with a relationship like that because you like a best friend. I'm not going to judge that. But this channel is about people who like to fuck, who want to maintain sexual aliveness in their relationships. Because for me, if I have a relationship with no sex, I would rather just be alone because I don't need some guy around who's not going to fuck me. What's the point? I don't need any friends. I'm not that interested in friends. I'm good right here. You guys are my friends. I'm talking to you. I want someone to talk to. I can talk to you. I want someone to listen to. I have people I can listen to all the time. I do listen. I do have phone calls with my friends. I can listen. But if I'm going to have a man in my space, a man in my home, he better add something of value, and that would be some good sex, some good leadership, some good masculine grounded energy, good conversation, a man's point of view. Because if you're just trying to please me, then you're being a woman. I want to get into your world. I want to know how you think. I think I've gone on long and long enough, but just keep in mind that when it comes to attraction has nothing to do with love. It's something different than friendship because friendship doesn't require pheromones and there are different dynamics at play. See, I made the mistake before. When these guys that I had sex with blew me off, I did something so stupid that always worked in all the other relationships I had in my family or with my kids or with my siblings, which is if one of my siblings or one of my kids was mad at me or one of my friends was mad at me, I would just kind of like come back at them and de-escalate or let them know that I really was, a good friend. I was really interested in them. I really care how you feel, that kind of a thing. But that doesn't work in dating. If someone doesn't get back to you, it's because they're not interested and you better take the hint. That's one example. I had to learn that the attraction man-woman thing operates on a different dynamic than any other relationship we have. Okay, so guy isn't texting you back, you don't want to text him again. That works with your kids. Your kid is mad at you, you go up and go, Mommy, what's going on, or your friend is mad at you, you might say, what's going on? I haven't heard from you. Do you want to talk about this? Maybe it works in your relationship too. It doesn't work with the guy you just met who's blowing you off. Like he said, he doesn't want to talk to you. Just go your own way, Sharzad. I had to learn that. And this thing about attraction, I'm telling you, the pheromones, you think that just because you were a people pleaser to Mommy, or your dad was a people pleaser to your mom, and that's what you saw, that's not how you build attraction. And I'm done being around guys who repulse me, who bore me, who are bad in bed. If that's what they have to offer, I don't even want it. That's why I'm single, and that's why I make these videos, because I would love to see a world of men that I would be interested in dating. I would love to meet a guy where I'm like, I would love to date this guy. I would love to be in situations where I see men I want to date, and I actually go on a date with them. And then maybe they find out something they don't like about me. Oh, I don't like this about you. That has never happened. That has never happened to me. Okay, the problem I have is like, where do I see these guys that are like these benevolent leaders, educated, successful? And again, some of you guys are saying, oh, you're asking for way too much. Then I will rather be alone. That's why I'm trying to teach you. What is it that a woman really craves? And why can't there be men who are as successful as I am, fit, who are in their masculine as much as I'm in my feminine? That's the problem, okay? That's the problem. they're either in their relationships that I can't imagine that they're thrilled to be in them, most people, or they don't exist because they're not masculine enough. They're not masculine enough. By the way, I'm in the top 3% at Just for Fans, so I do pretty well for being older. Guys like me. I'm not going to have some people on YouTube telling me I can never get anyone. That's just very rude. This video is more about sharing what I crave, and I fail to understand why it doesn't exist. I fail to understand why this doesn't exist. I'm going to the opera tomorrow, and then I'm going to like a singles meetup. But every time I go to the singles meetup, the guys there are just their energy is not strong. Their energy is very weak and wishy-washy. That's the problem. They're like people pleasers. They're not confident. Or they're just wearing old dumpy shirts from the 80s. Like, you got to wear some fitted clothing. You got to have a little bit of edginess. You got to be a little edgy, a little bit a little bit, else. Ladies, help me out here. Explain this, because I don't see what I'm looking for. Except in these younger guys. Some of these guys in their 30s and 40s are super freaking hot. There are some guys in their 70s that are super freaking hot too. I have seen guys in their 70s that are super freaking hot. They work out, they're funny, they're on point. So it does exist. I know it is possible. And people always tell me, oh, Sharzai, like, for your age, you're so fit, you're so playful, you're so fun. And because most women at 60, they're really dumpy. They got their dogs and their cats. So I think that we can all do better in, because part of being human, what makes it fun is being a woman is like super freaking fun. And being a man should be equally fun, Anyway, I am a sexual being. I love men, and I would love to meet a man I could date. If I had a man I would date, I would shut down my Just for Fans. I would shut that whole thing down, and I would just do some different work. I'm not committed to that work, but it's really good work for now because it lets me interact with men, and I like men. And when I'm single, I have a lot of men, and I have my sugar daddies, but I don't need them. That's for my income. That's how I get my male energy, because I love it. But I am not polygynous. I'm not polyamorous. I'm not a swinger. I personally would be happy with just one man, but he's got to be good. He's got to be worth it for me to shut all this stuff down, because I like what I'm doing. But I'm just saying, if I met the kind of guy that I like, I would shut all that down and just do something different. So that's just a little bit about me. Again, if you want to be a member and join the channel, you have to hit subscribe. Then you will see the join button. I do make videos for members only, but I don't make as many. There will be fewer of them. There will be usually at least 2 or 3 a month, but it's not going to be that often. I wore myself out making this video because I'm trying to speak very loud so everyone can hear me, because I've been told that they can't hear me, and I tried for a while to use like a microphone thing, and it was not better. So now I'm just using more volume in my voice. I feel like I'm yelling. I would rather speak more softly to you guys. Maybe what I could do next time is if I come a little closer to the phone, then I can speak a little more softly. And that would be good, and also when you guys see me on these videos, I'm usually like talking in like talk mode, but outside of these videos, I actually laugh a lot. You guys would not know that I laugh a lot, and I have like a really good laugh. It's one thing people always like about me is my laugh, because it's like this deep belly laugh. Anyway, so that's all I wanted to say is like I crave to be taken, but a man to take me has to embody, he has to embody certain qualities that only come about by having mastered himself, you know? He's got to have courage, and he's got to be calm, and he's got to be in touch with his sexuality. And oh, the other day I saw a guy at the gym at the cycling class. I was at the cycling class, and so we're cycling, right? Like we're cycling. And so we're on the spin bike, right? So we're standing up and we're cycling. And when you're cycling, like on the spin bike, you have to keep your, like you can't be like this, you know. You gotta have your hands down the handlebars, so you're in your abs, and you're in your lats and your abs. And then on the when you increase the resistance, you're just standing up, basically just using your legs, right? You're just using your legs. You're not supporting with your hands. Your hands are just loosely on the handlebars. Okay, so this old guy was in there. When I came in there, he had like this very angry looking face. He was this very scrawny old guy with white hair. So I just ignored him because he looked so angry. But the whole time we were cycling, he was like this. He wasn't like this. The teacher and I were like this. He was like this. And when we were cycling, he had to support his weight on his, he had to use his arms to support his weight because his abs weren't strong enough. I was so turned off by this guy. So turned off. This is how easily you can turn me off. Just have some bad form at the gym. Walk with a thing. Can't even support your own weight. It's a turn off. Get the fuck out of here. I was so disgusted. I was just, okay, don't look at him. Don't think about him. Focus on my form. But it bothered me. It was just such a... bothered me so much. So it's like, how can I ever respect the guy who can't even support his own weight? Seriously. You know, and that's the problem when women have their own education, our own money, and we're like, if you're not equally educated and you don't have your own money, like, why would we want you, you know? So I think it's gotten really hard for men, but really what men really should do, you guys really should go to college. Any young guys listening to this, you really should go to college or start a business at a young age. You really, really have to, because there are not enough good men that women want. Remember, we're polygynous by nature. We want the strong leader guy. In our DNA, it's in our bones. I'm going to make a separate video about birth control, because the hormonal birth control, let me just throw it out here really quick. The hormonal birth control is interfering with women's attractiveness to men, because we know from studies that women on hormonal birth control are attracted to men that are not masculine enough. They will be attracted to feminized men. These are in studies. Chris Williamson talks about this a lot. They get married. The woman goes off the birth control to get pregnant, and she's lost attraction to her husband because he's too fucking feminine. And I think he said in that interview with Louise Perry that when men are around women and children or women on hormonal birth control, their testosterone level goes down. That's one of the theories for men's lowering testosterone levels, because they're not around other men with testosterone. They're around these women on hormonal birth control, and these women on hormonal birth control will put up with very feminized men. Now, I've only ever been on hormonal birth control for 2 years out of my entire life. That was from the ages of 16 to 18 or 19. Ever since then, I used a diaphragm and natural family planning. So I have not been messing with my hormones. That's why I like masculine men, because I actually crave that. Supposed to crave that. So if you are a feminized man and you're getting women, they're probably on hormonal birth control. You know, if you, a woman that's not on hormonal birth control, a healthy woman, we're going to crave a guy who's, you know, got a little backbone. They also think that the reason men's testosterone levels are lowering could be because women's hormonal birth control that's excreted in the urine is in the waterway, so it's in your drinking water. It could be the plastics in the plastics in the cups and the water bottles, processed food, sedentary lifestyle, and also obesity. Something like 60% of men are obese. Obesity interferes with your hormone balance. If you have a belly, guys, that's estrogen stored in your belly. That is the worst place to have fat. It's a cause for concern, and researchers are studying it. It's a huge problem. I've not heard women also have testosterone. We have less than men, but women have more testosterone than estrogen. That's not usually talked about. I do not know if women's testosterone is lowering. Maybe ours is getting more because we're competing in the workplace and we're, you know, I don't know. I don't know what all the factors are, but it's interesting studies, you know. How do you like all